Dricus Du Plessis said he preferred a fight with Khamzat Chimaev over Sean Strickland. On X, he wrote, "Just for clarification, I preferred the Khamzat fight, but the rematch is the fight most wanted before Khamzat versus Whittaker. I'm not unhappy with the UFC's decision. Like I said, I'll fight the man fans think is the next best guy. He was promised the fight, so Strickland it is." Ilia Topuria says he's planning on moving to lightweight soon and is targeting Charles Oliveira for his first fight. Ilia said, "I was talking about Miami. I don't really know. I don't have an idea because I still have to have a couple of conversations to talk about it and see how they see my future. But more or less, I have it quite clear how I want it to be and an idea that I want. I would like to go up to the next division. And since Islam, the champion in that division, is going to fight in January and he's not going to stay, that is, he's not going to be ready for April, May, I would like to fight with the #1 contender that division has right now. That's Charles Oliveira. Maybe it's time for a change. Now it's time to enjoy a little more of what I do, not care so much about the weight cut. Imagine, I made my UFC debut in 2020 and started ranking at featherweight. Like, you get your position in the ranking, so you've earned your ranking in that weight, and then if you change, you lose all the work you've done within the rankings. So you stay there, but 4 years pass, you evolve, you grow, your body develops more, and it costs more and more to cut weight. I already have a UFC fight at lightweight. It was the one in London. The truth is that I felt super comfortable with that process because the weight cuts don't affect you. It gives you the opportunity to stay a little more active because if you eliminate that part, then it's going to be a pretty fun trip." The back and forth between Sean Strickland and Khamzat Chimaev continues. Over the weekend, Sean called Khamzat a scammer and said he wasn't a man. Khamzat fired back saying, "Say sorry again." He followed up with this video. He wrote, "Good luck."
Circling instead of just following.
Yeah, side step off to the side.
I think the strategy.
Khamzat then posted a picture of P. Diddy. He wrote, "Sean, is this your father?" And he ended it off with this photo of Sean. He wrote, "Who is this G?" Henry Cejudo thinks Chris Weidman looked like shit in his fight against Eryk Anders. He says Weidman should do himself a favor and retire.
You know, we'll just go over like briefly. Weidman looked like man. Like he did it. He never came back the same, dude, ever since that leg injury. I mean, he was getting ground and pounded. Like, it wasn't even, like, he just couldn't get up, dude. Like, it wasn't even, like, punishment. I feel like it was just fatigue for Chris Weidman. I do feel like Chris Weidman needs to, yeah, of 100%. Those shots weren't damaging, Kamaru. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Let's watch the highlight.
Like, those shots weren't damaging. But as I told you before, dude, my boy Eryk Anders got the job done. But he also got the job done. But it's also not the same Chris Weidman, but he needs to do himself a favor and just exit out from the sport, dude. I mean, he beat a guy like Anderson Silva. That is the highlight of his career. And it's okay, dude. Like, you beat a guy like that. You beat a guy like that, it's cool. But look, like, he's just like, there's no attempt to get up, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's just pretty much just catching his breath, and he's just getting ground and pounded from here to hell, dude. Like, you know, like, tell me those punches are damaging though, Kamaru. Like, seriously, there's no urgency to scramble out, dude.
You're right. I get that.
Besides all that, Dana White is right. He needs to retire. Smith needs to retire, and so does, and maybe the Glass Great Hope. But I don't think he needs to necessarily. It may be Guida, but I know that Smith and Weidman, they're just, you know, we're on towards our tail end of our career. That's just the reality, Kamaru.
Joaquin Buckley plans to knock Colby Covington out this weekend at UFC Tampa. Buckley thinks with a win over Colby, he will be fighting for the belt next.
Once they heard that I was fighting Colby Covington, you know what I mean? Like, it was like an automatic switch, you know, because so many people just don't like Colby, you know. And with that being said, they know my fighting style. They know how I come, and they always wanted to see a situation where Colby not just lose, but, you know what I'm saying, get shut up. So I feel like with that being said, I feel like, you know, the fans is on my side, definitely down here in Tampa, and I just can't wait to give them the show that they looking for. The pace that he's able to put on guys are tremendous, right? You know, he might not have much punching power, and, you know what I mean, and the ability to finish guys, but he has a good ability of breaking guys and wearing them out mentally. And that's one thing about Colby, I feel like, is his strength, is that he kind of wins the fight, you know, before the fight. A lot of things that he puts a lot of pressure on fighters, you know what I mean, to really kind of, you know, either shut them up or, like, you know, live up to what they say. So at the end of the day, I feel like me and Colby, you know, for me, it's just like, I think I do the same thing naturally because I do believe in myself. I have great self-belief, so I'm not scared to say what I believe, and he's the same type of fighter. So, you know, we're gonna see who's, you know, has the best will in there in that cage. Yeah. But to be honest with you, he has no other choice but to wrestle. Like, my man got to wrestle for his life, you know. But with that being said, I like that challenge. I like the idea that he is going to go out there, try to shoot and try to grapple and use his best weapon. And yet again, it's still not going to be good enough. Even though, you know, Shavkat didn't earn his spot, you know, sometimes things happen, right? You know, some things fall out. So with that being said, once I get a good knockout over Colby Covington, I feel like I'm next to fight for that belt.
Renato Moicano explains why he's fighting Beneil Dariush and not Paddy Pimblett. Renato says he would beat the shit out of Paddy, and the UFC knows this and are protecting him.
It's time for Paddy. That fight makes sense. They want to protect Paddy for a real fight. I think if they put me against Paddy, I would beat the shit out of him in England. I don't think Paddy is ducking. I don't think it's Paddy dodging the bullet. But I think UFC is trying to do with Paddy Pimblett what they didn't with Benoit Saint-Denis. So Benoit Saint-Denis, they throw him to the lions, and I think they are trying to be more careful with Paddy Pimblett, because now Paddy Pimblett is not ready for the top of the division. But I think they will do the same thing that they did to Sean O'Malley, you know? Good fights, and I think they think BSD is a good fight for Paddy Pimblett. But for me, even though he's coming off 2 losses, Paddy Pimblett never fought somebody at the level of Benoit Saint-Denis. Even though he lost terrible his last fight, I think he will be able to maybe knock Paddy Pimblett on the feet or maybe finish him on the ground. I don't think that's an easy fight for Paddy Pimblett, and UFC knew that. If I fight Paddy Pimblett 10 times, I will 10. If I fight Benoit Saint-Denis 10 times, I will 10 too. And that's why I'm not fighting Paddy Pimblett in England. It's easy as that. In the end, I think Benoit Saint-Denis will beat Paddy Pimblett. I think he found the lottery ticket, because I think BSD will be too much for Paddy Pimblett. On the other hand, you could ask me, why are you fighting Beneil Dariush? Because I don't have time to lose. I don't have time to lose. I'm 35 years old. I want to make money, and I want to fight as soon as possible. After my fight, I call UFC and I say, hey, I want to fight December, November, January. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I want to fight as soon as possible. And the opponent doesn't matter. I just have to keep winning. Eventually, I will get to a title shot. Eventually, I will get on a top 5 position. Eventually, I will be a title contender. So, in my mind right now, it's just win, win, win.
Robert Whittaker gives his take on the upcoming fight between Islam Makhachev and Arman Tsarukyan. On the MM Arcade podcast, Rob says he thinks Islam is better than Khabib.
I'm not going to go into it too much, but everyone wants to know how good Arman is, and everyone wants to know how good Islam is. And that fight is going to tell you, like, clean cut, okay? I will say that Islam looked amazing last fight. I think his strike, I think he wrestles like Khabib with way better striking. His striking is on leagues above what Khabib could do. And he's dangerous. He's so good. I just don't think he's had the chances to really display it. I know he's highlighted a lot since then, but I still think he's still building that legacy, because obviously Khabib has such a large shadow. So he's just got more groundwork to do in that sense. But I think honestly, Islam's probably better than Khabib.
Conor McGregor had words for Demetrious Johnson.
Conor McGregor, if I was to ask him, why are you still fighting? What makes you want to come back? You have all the money in the world that you can ever want. Like an extra 10 million, 20 million, that shouldn't affect the 500 million he's made off selling. I don't know how much it is. I don't know, but it can't be that expensive. I don't know. I should ask Oscar De La Hoya, because he said he's admitted about doing it.
Conor reposted that clip on X. He wrote, baldy little lowest earner all time. How much does an Xbox cost? Traded for Askren. Hashtag buy Felicia. So the UFC has not officially announced this fight. However, Caio says that Israel Adesanya versus Nassourdine Imavov is confirmed. He says that he actually DM'd Izzy and asked him why he chose to fight Imavov over him, and Izzy responded telling him that they will fight next year for the belt. Go check out Caio's full appearance on the Overdogs podcast with Mike Perry. Links in the description.
Yeah, that's confirmed. I think the UFC offered Izzy 2 fights, me or Imavov. And then he suddenly posted a clip studying Imavov's tape. And I was like, come on, bro. And actually, I sent message to Izzy and was like, bro, why are you choosing that? You know, and he was like, oh, we're going to fight next year. We're going to dance next year for the belt. And all this bullshit. I was like, come on, bro. But it's okay. I respect you. If you choose that, I think you chose right, you know, because, you know, I think Imavov it's a better fight for him, you know. And I think Izzy is the favorite on this fight, you know, because Imavov, I think he's good and all that, but I don't think he has the cardio for 5 rounds. I don't think he has the best mentality for 5 rounds. You know, he gets frustrated a lot into the fights, and he fought a 3-round fight with Brendan Alley in Paris, and it was like a boring fight. They were tired since the first round, and I think if he does the same thing with Izzy gonna pick him apart. You know, I think he's good, and I think he's good fighting guys that are shorter than him. I don't think he's good when he's fighting guys that are taller than him. So I think Izzy has the advantage on that, and both fights in long distance. But if the fight keeps in long distance, Izzy is still gonna have the advantage. So I think Izzy is gonna win this fight, and let's see what's going on next.
And that's going to wrap it up for the news. Thanks for watching. For daily MMA news and content, subscribe to Full Mount MMA and click the bell icon to be notified when we post videos. Here are the 3 top comments from last video. The first one's from Zexter33. It says Colby nowadays has the same amount of aura as Jamal Hill. The second one's from Cluey Juice. It says, tell Usman to release the Bilal tapes instead of talking shit. And the final one's from Neverland Grounds. It says, it's not the security guard's fault. He just couldn't remember Bilal's name. Those were the 3 top comments from last video. If you want to be featured in the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. And if you missed yesterday's news, click the video on screen right now to get caught up.